Welcome back, Fragrance Fiend here today with Wilhelm's latest released in 2024. Today is the official release date of Sparkling Joe by Wilhelm in Australia. I got this one with Morning Chess. I will be uploading my review of that pretty soon, so be sure to check it out. It's a really thorough review and I absolutely love that fragrance, so get keen for it. But today we're doing a first impression of this one, which was actually inspired by Joséphine Baker, which has quite a bit of an interesting backstory, so I'll read you a tiny bit about this fragrance now. So, following Joséphine Baker's frenetic steps, Vilhelm Parfumerie has translated this entrancing party rhythm into a sparkling fragrance, a homage to the night, an ode to Joséphine. As soft as a feather boa's caress, a bubbly glass of champagne, Sparkling Joe is a rambunctious invitation to live a festive and bright, never-ending night. A mix of lightheartedness and fun, it's what partying is all about. I can confirm that it's €175 for 50ml and €250 for 100ml. So to the note breakdown. In the top you have champagne, bergamot and juniper berry, with a heart of pear, ginger and ambrette, lastly with a base of musk, oak wood and amber gris. Not sure if that's a typo or not, but interesting nevertheless. So let's give it a spray. Once again I have to say I really love the atomizers on these. I can already smell this one in the air really prominently. So straight off the bat they've absolutely nailed that champagne note. I've never really smelled anything quite like that before. What is bleeding into that opening though quite a bit is the ginger from the heart, which is quite prominent. It gives it a nice little tinge of freshness and herbaceousness almost. The bergamot in this one though is quite smooth. It's not really a zesty citrus, it's a lot more cleaner and fresher, while the juniper berries kind of sit in the background. I feel like the pear in this is giving a mild resemblance to Pear Ink by Juliet Has a Gun, but not sweet by any means. This is a lot more fresher. And after a minute now, the ambergris is beginning to add a tiny bit of a powdery muskiness to the mix. This actually feels like a very different fragrance from the brand. It's very different to anything they've done before. In fact, it's almost got a tiny bit of a Creed DNA in the best way possible. For a very brief second, Milsim Imperial somewhat crossed my mind while smelling this. I mean, there's no similarity between the two, but something in me just clicked remembering that fragrance while I smelled this. But now that I think about it, those two would actually layer incredibly well together. I feel if you were to add a bit of an oceanic accord and sea saltiness to this, you could get a very similar result to Milsim Imperial, with the addition of a hint of iris, but otherwise, this is thoroughly enjoyable. So when I first sprayed it, I was able to smell it from about half arm's length, but it's dying down pretty fast at the moment, so I think this might be a little more of a skin scent as it develops. Nevertheless, it's absolutely beautiful. In fact, I wore I don't know what by Dias and Durga the other day, and I think this would actually layer incredibly well with it, especially if I was to use it as a bit of a fragrance enhancer, add a bit more projection and longevity to the mix. It does work. Using pure ambroxan or Isoe Super does help a fragrance go a really long way, whether it's another 13 by Le Labo or the Eccentric Molecule range or I don't know what by Dias and Durga. So the opening definitely came out with a bit of a bang. It literally smells like champagne without making it sound like a cheap alcoholic scent. My initial impression is really giving it a lot of class and sophistication. I wouldn't really wear this like day to day. It feels like a very formal scent. I'm not someone who goes to many formal events, so I'd probably have no reason to be able to like buy this fragrance. Nevertheless, I actually do appreciate it a lot and would still like it in my collection, but I just wouldn't have the right reasons to really wear it. The projection is beginning to diminish at a bit of an accelerated rate. Nevertheless, it's still quite light and pleasant. It's leaning a tiny bit more to the feminine side. A guy could wear this, but it just seems more appropriate to probably wear this on a woman, even though it is a unisex scent. It's very light, pleasant, almost a bit of an undetectable light floral tonality to it without even stating it in the note breakdown. The oak wood is finally starting to develop, which is going to give it a tiny bit more of a kick throughout the dry down. And ultimately, the champagne note has got a tiny bit of a tinge to it, which I like, but it's nothing too overbearing and it's still quite present. With all the Wilhelms I've either smelt or worn before, I prefer to wear them by themselves as they are quite complex, but out of all of them I think this one might possibly be complemented by another fragrance to layer it with, especially a molecular based scent. From that initial it feels like it's got a tiny bit of an addictive opening to it. I'm going to give it another little spray in case I haven't missed anything. Completely missed that. Yeah, definitely a light, bubbly, fun scent. It's got both class, sophistication, and a bit of a party edge at the same time. I think you could wear it to a less formal occasion going out, actually. And this one would actually make for a pretty good excuse to mask your breath if you get pulled over. So this one's definitely a yes in my books. It doesn't really fit too much within my personality or something I'd wear frequently, but I'd still love this one in my collection nevertheless. I absolutely love Wilhelm as a brand. Everything they deliver is always top notch. I only have 2 in my collection at the moment, but I'm hoping to get more eventually. If you haven't heard about the brand before, definitely check them out. I think there's something in there for everyone. But anyway, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.